This Valentine's Day, celebrate the one you love the most with Hallmark cards at Walgreens. Valentine's Day is the best time to send your favorite person a reminder of just how much they mean to you. A Hallmark card is a super simple and beautiful way to say how grateful you are for the love you two share. Don't forget, Valentine's Day is Saturday, February 14th. Visit Walgreens today to find a Hallmark card that shows just how much you love them. Because love lives here.
Welcome to Heaving Bosoms, the podcast where two best friends recap romance novels while cackling and crying, critiquing and connecting.
Stack our shelves with the clinches out. Shout it from the rooftop, can you hear the sound? Yeah. Live your best life, love it out loud. Love it out loud.
Hey HBs, before we get to the effervescent disdain we have for you today, I gotta tell you what's going on Patreon and our Apple Podcast subscription. This Friday, I'm telling Sabrina all about the newest and repeated binge I've been on. It's a big episode. I eat some crow. I crow about BFFs going lovers, and all the hockey-related smut that's come along with my fixation. Look, we're self-soothing these days, and that's one of the ways it's happening in my house. All right, this hiatus has been a veritable love fest so far. And this week, we've got a different flavor of throwback episode for you. I do want to make sure you know what you're getting into because, ooh, we are big mad. We talk at length about the trigger warnings in the first 20 minutes or so, but I want to give you a quick rundown just in case you want to nope out before our snappy music is even done. This episode contains discussions of sexual assault, including in young childhood, on-page violent rape, statutory rape, kink shaming, slut shaming, fat shaming, and more. We deal with it with our usual brand of indignation and attempts at levity, but take it into consideration and please take care of yourselves. We love you and we will see you next time if you can't. All right, here's part one of our recap of It Had to Be You by Susan Elizabeth Phillips. Oh my gosh. Hello, Sabrina.
Hi, Mel.
All right. Hey, listener, here's the deal. We don't have banter for today. We can't do banter.
No,
we are not
angry.
We're not in a place or a time or a universe in which banter is even possible. Here's our banter.
If you love It Had to Be You or Susan Elizabeth, because I don't know Susan Elizabeth Phillips in general, right? But if you love her and you especially specifically love this book or probably anything that she wrote in the early mid-90s, turn this episode off.
You got to go. We love you. We support you. We think that you are great. You know, everybody's got their dark lover, as Sabrina said to me on the phone yesterday.
Yep. Yep.
That's fine. But this is not going to be a very kind podcast.
There's no whimsy available here. So,
no.
Like, to give you some context, because I'm sure some of you probably don't remember or haven't heard Dark Lover or whatever. Dark Lover is a book that I read right around the time it came out. And so rereading it 15 to 20 years later for podcast, I was able to look at it through nostalgia glasses. You know? I whimsied it. Glasses. I looked at it and I was like, yes, this is all problematic, but this was definitely of the time. And like, I enjoyed it at the time and blah, 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 blah. I was able, and like, I can acknowledge that it has problems and understand why Melody came in and hated it. Right.
I understood. I came in hot. I had never read it before. I read it through a 2024 lens and it was not great. So here's the deal. If you love this book and if you love Susan Elizabeth Phillips, we have nothing against you. We support you.
There's just
But I
no
don't think
nostalgia
you're gonna
glasses here.
Yeah, you're not going to like what we have to say at all. Yeah, so go enjoy your life. We love you. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's lots of things in the back catalog. Enjoy yourself. Go listen to Dark Lover. That was a very entertaining episode because Mel hated it and I was nostalgia loving it, you know?
Yeah. And Erin and I recapped one Susan Elizabeth Phillips book, and like, we didn't like it, but I don't recall wanting to set things on fire after reading it. And so that could be a fun one. But I do remember the same amount of malevolent thinness that came through that book. And at the very least, I just feel like that might be who Susan Elizabeth Phillips is as a person, especially, I guess, in 1994 when she originally wrote this book.
Yeah.
Everybody, you know, if you've listened to the podcast before, there's a good chance you know that I am a little bit sensitive to thin culture coming through in books. And this wasn't thin culture coming through in books. This was blatantly categorizing good people as thin and fit and bad people as overweight or pudgy or, you know, all the business.
Yeah, fat as a morality.
Yes.
Or an ethical.
Yeah. And even more than that, it came through in just like regular ass descriptions that had absolutely no need. Yeah, the one I'm thinking of specifically is when she says something and the description of how she said it was with enough saccharin to supply a Weight Watchers convention.
Yep.
Why did we have to do that, Susan Elizabeth Phillips? I wonder. Why would we want to even? I wonder. So that is going to be a big thing in this episode. If you are also sensitive to malignant thinness, malicious thinness, this might be a tough episode for you. And it's definitely going to be a tough book.
If you're sensitive to sexual assault.
Wow. I'm going to just say you got to turn it off because I am actually I am not that sensitive to descriptions of sexual assault. And I think there's a couple of different issues with it that compound it in this book. But I've said it before, subgenre matters.
Yep.
If I walk into a mafia book, if I walk into a dark book, I have made a pact with the author. I understand that there are going to be very dark elements, and I have given my consent, especially if they're writing in an age where they give trigger warnings at the front of the book. There are absolutely zero trigger warnings in this book, even though it was republished in 2013.
I mean, trigger warnings weren't popular at the beginning of books in 2013 either. By the way, listener, supposedly this book was republished in 2013, but I found data that it was originally published in 1994.
But at the same time, how was it not written in 1982? You know what I mean? Like with the amount and boldness of all the bullshit in this book.
Okay, I'll put it this way because, okay, listener, if you have been around for a while, before I was ever even officially co-host, Mel and I did The Bride, and I made the comment that I went into that book with a wary mind and an open heart because I knew what time it was written in. That was a book where my trust was rewarded, right? It was definitely of its time, but it was still delightful. This is an example of a book where my trust was aggressively curb stomped.
Sure.
Yeah, it was rough. This book was rough. Especially, I think almost the worst thing about this book to me is it was a whiplash book where it was so fucking awful. And then there would be something that I loved.
And it was normally, both times that I'm thinking of, it's normally an actual assault that then in the same chapter she tries to get me to enjoy the kiss they share afterwards. Or like she goes from the heroine literally trying to run out into the hallway naked because she said stop so many times to one of the most beautiful
consensual sex scenes I've ever read in my life.
And here's the thing. I think that's why it makes me even more mad. Because it's clear
She's
that
capable.
Susan Elizabeth Phillips fucking understands consent.
Mm-hmm.
And yet she abused me as far as my consent is concerned. And we'll get into it in chapter 3 or 4. But like, I did not consent to some shit that she did to me and then tried to pass off as like normal stuff later. She understands consent and she made serious choices to not. Like, I'm just so mad.
Listener, we're kind of giving you an overview of what the next hour and a half of us talking about this book is going to be, so that, like, honestly, you could listen to this first 15, 20 minutes of the episode and know exactly what.
Yeah, no, listen, I, Melody, want you to be able to make informed decisions. If you want to keep listening, fuck yeah, let's go on this ride. But if this tone is not what you need right now, I want you to be able to check out. The other things that we haven't quite explicitly said is there's going to be a metric fuck ton of slut shaming. There's a metric fuck ton of Madonna horror complex. There's a metric fuck ton of kink shaming.
Oh my
while
God.
also managing to like celebrate kink, but then also shame
not
it
the craziest
into
thing,
oblivion.
though?
Yes, this is what I'm saying. I'm so mad.
So one of the things that boggles my mind about this book is that, so you made the very good note that subgenre matters, right?
Yes.
Because there are so many things in this book that in a different context, I would have eaten up with a spoon, right? Like the scene in this book is so fucking awful, and in another book would have been fantastic, to the point where a couple of times I finished the scene enjoying and then remembering where I was. Yeah. Right?
And then feeling really fucking gross with yourself. Listen, you're right. If this had been if this wasn't a straight up hetero contemporary sports, if that wasn't the premise I walked into this with, I still don't know if I would have been okay because of the level of graphic in the moment craziness that happened, and even the level of detail of the descriptions of past assaults.
That's what my issue was in those scenes.
Yeah, and for me, I think in a dark book, I would have been mostly okay, or at least I would have like girded myself, you know? But because this came out of nowhere, I actually had to close my office door because for the first time in what I feel like is months, I was just sobbing at my desk. Like tears streaming down my face as she's being assaulted on page. And again, I'm not actually that sensitive to essay descriptions, you know?
Yeah. We're going to end up getting into some pretty deep shit in this book that it's one of those things where it's really hard to talk about in a lot of ways, but it's something that for me personally, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this. In some ways it's empowering to talk about it. And I know that ultimately we have a safe space, right? And I'm not going to go hella into detail. The book does it enough. But like the second thing, and I know that I've kind of gone off on a couple of tangents from my original thing like 5 minutes ago about how I have two things to say. The second thing is
no worries.
So one of the unspoken contracts within a romance novel, as far as I'm concerned, is that by the end of the book, no matter where you start, by the end of the book, you are rooting for that couple. There's some sort of redeeming something about the characters. There was no redemption. I don't want these people together. I don't think they should be together. I hate him. I have conflicting feelings about her. And
oh, that poor thing. Well, and like in Susan Elizabeth Phillips's defense, are you ready for this? In the book's defense, it does say that he is a misogynist in the blurb. The book description describes him as a misogynist.
Shut the fuck up. It does not. Hang on. I have to confirm this.
It does. And like, while you're doing that, I want to talk about another really quick contract that people come in. Because when I look up this book on Amazon right now, it has this bright yellow cover with like a lady. I think there's balloons involved. And I don't know why there are balloons because I don't actually recall any balloons in the book. but it's this very clearly like I'm a sweet rom-com contemporary romp. You should come in this expecting roses and lilies and hijinks.
And then the other cover that is literally just tits and lingerie.
Yes, then there's a
or like some kind
cover.
of camisole.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally just like from the clavicle to below the bust. That is the whole frame. Just like tits. Yes. Read it to them. Read it to them right now. Read it to them. How wild is that?
It Had to Be You by Susan Elizabeth Phillips.
Also, it didn't
Book
at all.
1 in the Chicago Stars. What if a woman who knows nothing about sports inherits a professional football team? The Windy City definitely isn't ready for Phoebe Somerville. The outrageous knockout. I'm sorry, do the people really? Okay. The outrageous
New York.
I know, but what? Anyway, the outrageous York knockout who's taking over their hometown team. And Phoebe is definitely not prepared for the Stars' head coach, Dan Calebo, a sexist jock taskmaster with a one-track mind. This is the book that began it all. The Chicago Stars are about to take the field, and they're not the only ones playing for keeps. A sexist jock. I would have gotten into this book with different expectations if I'd read this synopsis.
Maybe. I still would have hated it.
I would have hated it still, but like,
and at the very least, I would have been let down because if you describe him that way in the blurb, I'm going to need a metric fuck ton of growth by the end. And there's a little bit of growth.
That's the thing. There's a little bit of growth, right? There's no redemption. Like I don't like him. I don't like him. I don't want her to be with him, but frankly, like
no, I don't.
Frankly, she doesn't need to be with anybody. She needs to be with a therapist is who she needs to be with.
I know, I love her so much. Yeah. No, but you know what? Here's the thing. The issue I have with the hero's arc and his growth from the beginning of the book to the end of the book is that at the end of the book, he is still sexist.
Yes!
The growth is he no longer views her as an object, and she is the one woman in the world that he views as a person and a person with agency and a person with ideas, but that does not at all apply to any other woman that also exists in the world.
I'm so sorry. You know how you read a book that you love, right? And then you go look at the reviews and there's a bunch of like 1 or 2 star reviews where you're like,
yeah.
I don't know. We must have been reading completely different books. I'm having the exact opposite. I just scrolled. People love this book. Like recently, they read it for the first time recently. And I don't understand. But you know what? And hey, I love it. I love that for them. I love that too, because ultimately, I know we've said it before, like we're not here to yuck people's yums, right? We are. Like,
no.
If you're still here right now, we gave you the very first thing we said in this episode is do not fucking listen to this. If you like Susan Elizabeth Phillips, if you liked this book.
We've said it over and over again. I will defend your right to love this book.
And God knows, I love books that.
Oh God, very questionable stuff.
Oh yeah.
We love.
Oh yeah. But
golly
it's not some like the questionable things in the books that I love that other people hate. Like it doesn't hit
your pain points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle Magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait, order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
Nobody does selling better than Shopify. Shopify is the home of the #1 checkout on the planet. And the not-so-secret, with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts go abandoned and way more sales going through. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling. On the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout that Skims uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period for 3 months at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1. This Valentine's Day, celebrate the one you love the most with Hallmark cards at Walgreens. Valentine's Day is the best time to send your favorite person a reminder of just how much they mean to you. A Hallmark card is a super simple and beautiful way to say how grateful you are for the love you two share. Don't forget, Valentine's Day is Saturday, February 14th. Visit Walgreens today to find a Hallmark card that shows just how much you love them. Because love lives here.
Well, and that's the thing. So, okay, I've read some reviews recently of the podcast that are very valid. And one of the things I'm thinking of in general is that some people feel like we've gotten like too nice or too careful in our reviews of books. And in a couple of the different, and a couple of the things that, and I think it's totally valid. In a couple of the things that I've read, they've chalked it up to us being like too close to the industry or like us having too many romance writer friends or whatever. And I just want to make it clear that from the beginning of the podcast, Aaron and I, if we knew for a fact that it was an indie baby author, we wouldn't publicize that we were going to review it just in case we didn't like it. Because Heaving Bosoms does not believe in, punching down, right? Like taking somebody who has a smaller platform than we do and telling people that they're terrible, because they're not, right? They're just not books for us.
Yeah.
On the other hand, Susan Elizabeth Phillips is doing fucking fine. Her platform is way bigger than ours. She is a giant in the industry, and that is for a reason, you know? But this is, at the end of the day, it's still a reader podcast. And in this kind of case, I don't mind coming at Susan Elizabeth Phillips because she's fine. I'm not punching down at that point. I'm not even punching laterally. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is an old man yelling at Sky, right? Like the Sky doesn't care.
And to the people who think that one of the reasons is because we have too many romance writer friends, I think it's not necessarily related to that, but I think that we have a much more keen understanding of the power of our platform in a way that when we thought 5 people were going to listen to the podcast, we didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So at the very least, I want to make sure that I give every caveat, because this is going to be my personal opinion. It comes with all of my history. It comes with all of my baggage. It comes with all of my bullshit, right? And that is going to be different for everybody. I don't judge people who love this book because I can see why a lot of people would.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, like we've both said, there are parts of this book that are phenomenal. I get why people love Susan Elizabeth Phillips. That'd me too. I would be so much less angry if the book was heinous from beginning to end.
Yeah. Oh, yes, absolutely. If it was tone deaf from beginning to end, absolutely. I would be like, I don't like that book, and that's it. That's it. There's no conversation there. But I want to light things on fire after I read this book.
By the way, that's very interesting because as a listener, what y'all said did affect me as a fan, right? I was hyper aware of that. And so I've been actively working over the last year, and you've been so fucking helpful, Mel, in like my own personal growth with being able to say, no, I don't like that. Like, I didn't like that because I was nervous about putting that out in the world, because like at the very least, if it's a positive thing, then like
there's no harm.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I want to avoid.
Yeah, and I agree. And like, it's very interesting because this might be a little bit of the turning point. Because like, guess what? There's a lot of bad shit in this book.
There's a lot of harm done by this book to me, Melody, and so we have to talk about it.
And
all
me
right.
too. Let's go. We're fucking...
Here we go. So when we enter this book, we're at a funeral, and we've got Phoebe Somerville. She is a blonde Jessica Rabbit, and she has gone to the funeral with her gay best friend who is posing as her scandalous lover. And she's being very over the top about like what a black sheep she is in the family, because she really was. Her dad owned a football team, and he was a red meat, steak only. I don't like women. I don't believe women. And anything that I don't completely agree with is a travesty that I'm not interested in. And he was incredibly abusive to Phoebe when she was younger. He's the one who gave her the extreme weight complex that we're going to witness through the rest of the book. And he disowned her at a certain point. We find out later on it's because he didn't believe when she told him she was SA'd. And it's like a whole thing, right? So she's coming back for the funeral. Everybody's like, OMG, the black sheep returns. And like, she's artsy, okay? She worked at an art gallery one time.
Well, and she also had an affair, supposedly, with an artist 40 years her senior. And we find out later that she was essentially his beard.
And his muse.
But as far as the world is concerned, she's having sex and with an artist 40 years her senior. And how old is she in this book?
She's 33. When she was with the artist, she was like, I think like
20.
21 and on. Yeah. And her tits are all over the world in museums and art galleries because he painted her naked all the time, which is terrible. What a slut.
And don't worry though, listener. The misogyny is not just in character voices. It's also just in the book itself.
Oh yeah.
We hear not in dialogue about how thick she is, and then immediately body shamed all other women by saying she's what a woman should look like.
How does that work, Sabrina, I wonder?
Why? Because she's constantly hating the fact that she is as thick as she is?
Oh, yeah. She's constantly saying that she has to lose at least 10 pounds to even be witnessable.
Oh, but don't worry. When she steps on a scale, if she accounts for 9 pounds of clothing, she's exactly where she wants to be. Yeah, it's back and forth between whether or not she's like the ideal female specimen or a hideous fat lump that shouldn't ever be seen in public.
And this is one of the things that I cannot grasp about Susan Elizabeth Phillips, because she obviously understands the conundrum that women are in as far as society's standards for their bodies and the way that the beauty standard changes depending on the culture and the woman and the body type and the skin color and all the bullshit. And yet she still manages to perpetuate it while subtly critiquing it. Like, what the fuck is happening right now? I feel like I'm being gaslit the whole time.
Yeah! We got gaslit by this book. That's exactly what happened.
I mean, and I don't use that term lightly. Like, I know what gaslighting means.
No, and so just to like finish up, basically she has a shitty relationship with her dad. He's always he has literally to her face told her, "You are my greatest failure." And told her how much of a disappointment she is. And so she's basically just at this funeral. God knows why, frankly. Like, why are you at this funeral? It's
Great question.
It's because she always craved his acceptance.
It's because she's a good person. She's a nice person. And she knows that he's fucking dead. And there's a little piece of that daughter inside that is always going to miss him no matter what. And that's completely understandable.
Yeah, it tracks.
So then in the second chapter, Susan Elizabeth Phillips comes out swinging with her backstory. And this is a big, giant trigger warning for sexual assault. And
Mel, I feel like we just blanket trigger warning. If we trigger warning all of the scenes that are about to happen, this is, listener, this is the last and final trigger warning for sexual assault, for rape, for misogyny, for fat shaming, slut shaming, anything to do with any of that.
We did it at the front, right?
Yeah, and this is your last turner. Like, we love you. Take care of yourself, okay?
Please.
Like, this is not us taking it lightly at all. Like,
No.
this is not us being like, yeah, there's a little bit. No, this is like neon lights. Turn this off
Yes.
if that's something that you can't handle. And also don't fucking read this book, because the descriptions in this book are so much worse than this podcast is about to be.
They're harrowing.
Yeah. So chapter 2, she gets the will read, right? And it turns out her dad is basically giving her like 6 months to be the head of the team before it goes to her fucking shitty, terrible cousin Reed. And she has a letter from him. Oh my God. And it says, "Dear Phoebe, as you know, I regard you as my only failure. For years, you've publicly humiliated me by running around." Oh, big trigger warning also on words used in this book. There are
and homophobia,
racism.
Oh God.
And yeah, so just
and like there's exactly 3 good men in this book. 3 of them, and even one of them crosses some consent lines.
Is it Ron?
There's Ron. There
Victor?
is
no, I guess
no. Victor sucks.
No, Victor's awful.
No. And Hat.
Oh, Bobby, Tom,
and the one black person, the one black man, Darnell that we see in the book. Those are the 3
don't
good
worry.
men.
The one black man does get some really don't worry, we're gonna talk about it.
Everybody's still super racist about him. I'm talking about him, period.
No, he's fantastic. And like his love of his life, Chantel, maybe?
Yeah, I think.
Something
I don't
like
remember.
that. I don't know. He's delightful.
It was an audio.
So anyway, yeah, just
everybody else is the worst.
Just warning on that, because I just came across one of the words and it's about to come out of my mouth. So sorry, friends. 4 years, you've publicly humiliated me by running around with all those but I'm not going to let you defy me any longer. For once in your life, you're going to do what I tell you. Maybe this experience will finally teach you something about responsibility and discipline. The game of football makes men out of boys. Let's see if it can make a woman out of you. Don't fuck this up too, Bert. By the way, I would like to actually make a comment. This is going off a little bit on a tangent, but I just feel like it's something necessary to say.
Yeah.
Specifically because there are ways to make it clear that somebody is homophobic.
Yes.
Or racist. And I'm just going to talk about it from a homophobia standpoint, because that's something that I can directly identify with. I've experienced it. This is just a note to all authors. You can make it clear that somebody is homophobic or racist without using words like
that are traumatizing.
Yeah.
Without re-traumatizing people.
You could have made it very clear that this man was homophobic without dropping.
Oh yeah. That's debilitating to a lot of people.
You could have made it very clear that he was a homophobe without using that terminology. And I understand that this book was written in 94, but still, just letting everybody know, right? PSA.
Yeah.
Because like I stopped dead when I tell you I was listening to this book on audio, and when that word came into my ears, I literally wasn't my brain blanked. I was like, oh my God, what?
Yeah.
I was literally in shock. Anyway, so there's that letter. He's great dad, obviously. And then we have...
and like, second of all, like, it doesn't even track for that character. I'm so sorry. He would never let her anywhere near having power over his football team. Like, I didn't understand this at all. Any of that. But we're fine. It's the premise. Cool. Whatever. And then after this 6 months, if the team wins the AFC championships, then she gets to keep the team forever, Aziz. Because apparently then she will have been not a failure anymore. But if the team loses, then it is ripped from her fingers and given to her terrible cousin
Reed. And she gets $100,000.
Yes. And he was expecting to inherit the team outright from the beginning. So Reed is smarmy and terrible.
We get our first really traumatic description of something, of the book.
And like, why did this happen? Why did it also have to be child sexual assault?
Yeah. Basically, Reed had, like, they're young, you know, preteenish, early teens kind of thing. Maybe she's not even 10. I don't know their ages, frankly.
She's really young and he's too old to do any of this.
Yeah, and basically he's like holding a picture of her dead mother over her and being like, if you want this picture, then pull down your pants and show me your privates.
And you're in her body.
Yeah, and this is also
And
like
just
a bazillion page. This scene never ended and it just kept getting worse. And I was like, this has to end at some point. And then don't worry, it does end. And we immediately have a rather descriptive scene of her talking about how traumatic that was. And then also how traumatic the time she got raped in high school was.
And once again, we see her walk into that dark shed and we're told how it feels when whoever it was, like, grabs her in all the business, and the way that she screamed and screamed and screamed and screamed and nobody heard her. And it's
rough.
Like the child part of it ends without her, like, it ends without her taking off her underwear, which I appreciated, but at the same time, the way that you're in her body while it's happening and while she's grappling with this decision of either pulling down her pants or having the only picture that exists of her mother torn up into 18 tiny pieces that she can't tape back together is absolutely harrowing. And then we go straight into this incredibly descriptive, penetrative rape scene.
Yeah. And then we find out that the reason she left is because when she went to her dad about it, her dad was basically like, why would Craig, the star quarterback, be interested in fucking you at all?
Yeah, you're too fat for that. You're too fat and ugly. Why would he want that?
So she runs away to Paris. And then we zippy zap. And we meet our hero, who's a working man's quarterback, not one of those fussy pansy men.
Dan hated champagne, not just the sissy taste, but the way those silly glasses felt in his big battle-scarred hands. Even more than the champagne, he hated the idea of that blonde bimbo with the drop-dead body owning his football team.
Mm-hmm. And then we continue on where we keep learning about Dan and specifically the kind of woman Dan is looking for, because at this point in his life, he wants a flour-dusted cookie bacon baby making woman. After more years of raising hell than he wanted to count, he was in a serious settling down mood. At the age of 37, by the way, important note, this man is 37 years old, because we're going to get to a scene that Mel and I both almost DNF'd the book over. At the age of 37, he yearned for kids, blah, 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 blah. He was on the brink of turning over a new leaf. No more career women. No more glamour pusses. No more sex bombs. He had his eyes out for a down-home woman, the kind who'd enjoy having a toddler mess up her hair, a woman whose idea of high fashion was a pair of blue jeans and one of his old sweatshirts, an ordinary kind of woman who didn't turn heads and make men crazy.
So here's the thing, right? In a good percentage of my life, you could describe me like that. Like, I baked bread yesterday. You know what I mean? Like, I have 2 children that I absolutely adore.
I have literally
I can't dress up for the life of me.
Cookie baking.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
And you've definitely made babies.
I have. Yeah.
But also, guess what, listener? We like to occasionally be a glamour puss and a sex bomb.
Right.
It's almost like you can be both.
It's almost like women can contain multitudes.
And that it's not a moral failing to look and feel sexy. every once in a while, whatever that feels like and means to you.
It's almost like it's not my problem whether or not men turn their heads or I make them crazy, because that has absolutely nothing to do with me and entirely to do with those fictional men.
Yep.
So like that part of it is not what upsets me. What upsets me is his Madonna horror complex, his slut shaming, even though he doesn't like live his life as a slut shamer, really. Like, it's so confusing. And then also just the objectification of women. He's like, he's not saying, I can't wait to find a woman who has like these idiosyncrasies, and he's not looking for an individual. He's looking for a piece to slot into his life.
He's looking for a traditional homemaker. That's what he's looking for, but in the worst kind of way. Somebody who is essentially has like, this is not a choice. You know what I mean? Like,
he's looking for an automaton.
Yeah. And the fucking worst part of this, and he kind of acknowledges this later in the book, but it's never acknowledged in a way that made me feel better about it, is he realizes that he doesn't actually want that.
No.
He doesn't like the lady he finds. He thinks that she's annoying and he can't handle how meek and submissive she is. He likes a firecracker, sex bomb, puss baby lady, glamour, whatever.
One of those glamour pusses.
He just wants a glamour puss that doesn't flash her puss all over and fuck anything that moves. Guess what? That's a lot of glamour pusses.
Yeah. He wants a glamour puss who dresses in a burlap sack the rest of her life, unless she is glamour pussing specifically for him. That's what he wants.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait, order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
A Mochi moment from Sadie, who writes, I'm not crying, you're crying. This is what I said during my first appointment with my physician at Mochi, because I didn't have to convince him I needed a GLP-1. He understood, and I felt supported, not judged. I came for the weight loss and stayed for the empathy. Thanks, Sadie. I'm Myra Ahmed, founder of Mochi Health. To find your Mochi moment, visit joinmochi.com.
Sadie is a Mochi member compensated for her story.
It's awesome. You're going to love it.
I am
I'm going to give it to you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. If you're shopping while working, eating, or even listening to this podcast, then you know and love the thrill of the hunt. But are you getting the thrill of the best deals? Rakuten shoppers do. They get the brands they love with the most savings and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores and even stack sales on top of cash back. It's easy to use, and you get your cash back through PayPal or check. The idea is simple. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back. Download the free Rakuten app and never miss a deal. Or go to Rakuten.com to start getting the most bang for your buck. That's Rakuten.
Thanks, Ashley, for being here. You are.
So, all right, here's the conflict at the beginning of the book. Phoebe resents this fucking ridiculous thing that her dad has done to her, even beyond the grave. And so she's checked out. She's like, I'm on vacay. I don't give a shit about this team. I don't want anything to do with it. Go fuck yourself, everybody. And so the general manager has quit out of frustration. Dan is in like a terrible situation because he can't get any of his players' contracts signed. And like, it's legitimately a shit show over there in football land. But like the way that he describes it is, thanks to the disappearing bimbo, Dan Calebo was in danger of losing 3 of the most promising players in the league. And because the general manager, who was like a steak-eating man's man, quit out of frustration, the acting general manager, who that dude loved, who that dude fought to have on his team, he's like a sissy boy who is short. Man, is he short, and he's meek, and he's not a man.
And he's emotionally intelligent.
And how can anybody with emotional intelligence make good football decisions? You know what I mean? If you have to actually like listen to somebody and they're not shouting directly in your face, are they even saying anything?
The beginning, in the next chapter, I have a quote specifically about how he feels about this.
Let's go there.
Well,
no, we can't.
We can't yet because don't worry, he leaves this party. And
wait, I'm so sorry. Wait, quickly, just for listener. Up until this point, he's been scoping out the ladies in the room. And like there's a congresswoman that he's been fixated on. She has not given him the time of day. And she's like one of those career woman mistakes that he's made in the past, all right? And like there's never been a flower dust on her in her life. And then there's other women who are like throwing their numbers at him and pawing over him. And he's like, I'm at the place in my life where like it's woman to marry time.
We also find out that this congresswoman later, or like it's never on page, but like this is his ex-wife who he's acknowledging as a sexy woman in this room.
Yes. Yeah. So now he leaves. He drives his fucking Ferrari.
He goes to 7-Eleven.
Wait, but first, Susan Elizabeth Phillips tries to get on my good side by telling me that he donates just as much money as he spends. And like, you don't get a fucking medal for that when you're making $8 million a year. You don't get a fucking medal for that. I'm sorry. There are so many things like basic consent that SEP wants me to give him a fucking medal for, and I'm just not gonna. Sorry. Okay.
Oh yeah, he doesn't even get a medal for the scenes I love, right? Because the rest of the book, he's so fucking awful.
Well, and the scenes I love are just actual genuine, like, that's just being a person who understands how not to abuse people.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, it really honestly is the bare minimum.
Basic human decency is not a gold star action.
Right. And because the heroine has so much sexual trauma, she looks at it like he's this fucking unicorn of a wonderful man. And like, no, it's just normal stuff that should be normal. Okay. Now that he's at 7-Eleven. And this is when Susan Elizabeth Phillips did something to me.
No, same. I almost DNF'd this book. Even I didn't give a shit that it was a 5-star read. I like a 5-star rec. I almost texted you and was like, Mel, we're breaking the rule. We cannot read this. I refuse. I refuse.
So he walks into this 7-Eleven and there's this 16-year-old girl who's bubblegum smacking and wearing a cheerleader or something or other, and her skirt's so short, and she's
very
got so
creepily
much
described
on.
As very sexy. The 16-year-old is just like actively described as attractive and sexy on page, and it gave me the ick so fucking, especially because like this, all I could think, this is my sister's age. Like,
I mean, I had a freeze response.
I did too. I was literally listening in shock.
Yeah, I was in the middle. I was trying to move something from my sound booth to my desk. And at the end of the scene, I realized I had just been standing in the middle of the room, staring at a spot in the distance, frozen with this thing in my hand. Okay, so then she comes over to him and she's like, "You're a really hot guy. And I'm done with boys and I want to do it with a man who knows. I'm driving my dad's car. Do you want to follow me home?" And he's like, "And what would we do there, darling?" And she's like, "Have sex." And he's like, "Yeah, howdy doody. Let's get on. Let's go to there." So he follows this child home.
My
goes
notes.
into the, yes, please.
My notes are, do not fucking tell me that this 37-year-old man is actually going home with a 16-year-old from 7-Eleven right now. I'm about to lose my shit if that's the case. My next note is, oh my fucking God, what the hell? He's actually fucking a 16-year-old on Page. I don't know if I can do this. And then my third note is, oh my sweet fucking God.
Wait. Don't tell them yet. Don't tell them yet.
Oh, you wanted to share more about this horrifying, non-consent between the reader and the author scene? Yeah, go for it.
Yes, I do. I'm sorry. This was a thing that was done directly to me, and I have to be heard about it. So she goes into, like, they go into the house and they stand at the counter, and she takes off her panties in the middle of the kitchen. And I think he might describe the panties. And then she takes him to not her bedroom, but like a study that's obviously like, quote unquote, her dad's study. And then she starts unbuttoning her shirt, and then we see 16-year-old boobs, and then he touches the 16-year-old boobs, and he tweaks them a little, like he does nipple play on 16-year-old boobs in front of me, and then he fingers her on the desk in front of me, and then he puts her ankles up on the desk so that he can look at her sweet 16-year-old get out of their vagina, get out of that vulva. It's 16, it's a child. And then he sits down, and then her 16-year-old hand is like on his cock and talking about how big it is and how she wants it to hurt. And then the 16-year-old is like, I'm sure I've done something wrong. You should probably spank me. And then he does. And then he does. And then she impales her 16-year-old body on him. And then he comes inside her, probably, I think. Or maybe inside the condom. I don't know at this point.
As they're coming together, raw, there's a phone call that comes through.
Well, no, wait. And first, he's hitting her too hard now. Because now he's thinking about his ex-wife and how she said something bad about him in the press. And so he's smacking this 16-year-old girl who has nothing to do with his personal life so hard that she's like wincing and obviously not okay with it and telling him that he's gone too far. And then he's like, no more of this stuff in the papers, like no more talking about the divorce and stuff. And so I think that he is taking this 16-year-old and role-playing, punishing his ex-wife.
Yep.
Then a phone call comes through. Please carry on.
Then a phone call comes through, and we find out that this ex-wife is the 16-year-old, and that this is some kind of role play.
This has been a fucking game the whole time.
Mel, there are ways.
I'm shaking right now.
I would not have been happy about this scene, period. But there are ways that this scene could have been written that did not make me as viscerally and deeply uncomfortable as it did. Especially while we are under the impression that this is a 16-year-old, you do not need to be telling me how sexy, like graphically, how sexy and hot and like what you're doing to this 16. Like I
don't need to know what a 16-year-old nipple feels like. I don't want to.
I don't need to know what a 16-year-old grabbing up all on your junk feels like. I don't need to know what she looks like. I don't need to know how perfect and pretty and pink her pussy is. Like, this is not... The entire thing was disgusting.
Here's the thing. We find out later in the book that Susan Elizabeth Phillips and her editor and whoever the fuck published this obviously understand what consent is. And yet, they did this to every single reader without our consent on any level. Mm-hmm. I did not walk in to a Guardian Ward book. I did not walk into a dark romance.
I did not walk into a forbidden love. I didn't walk into Taboo. I didn't. Guess what?
I didn't give you consent to fucking do this to me.
I just recently read a book between a 49-year-old and an 18-year-old, and he was into her before she turned 18. Loved the book. Guess what?
Because you understood what was happening.
One, I was expecting this because, and like, also, guess what? Nothing happened until she was 18. And, like, there are so many things wrong with this whole entire thing. It's heinous.
So we find out that he is not a sexual predator, but I still had that experience.
By the way, of note, the fact that I believed he was doing it. I believed, just based on this is the end of chapter 3, and the fact that within 2.5 chapters, it's not that I was learning about him, it's that this scene started, and I was like, it tracked that this person was going home and fucking graphically a 16-year-old. That's a problem.
Here's the other thing. So this manages to be kinky. It could have been kinky goodness if written in a way and explained at the beginning that it was kink. It could have been a perfectly normal, great, get your rocks off together, do it in a healthy way, because this book was written in the middle of the AIDS epidemic. And so one of the things I really appreciated about it was that everybody was very concerned with condoms and sexual health.
The way that this book handled STIs and the AIDS epidemic was fucking fantastic.
It was beautiful.
What?
And one of the reasons that they're still having sex with each other, even though they've been divorced for a year, is because A, they're both very high profile and they don't need shit sold to the tabloids. And B, they know for a fact that both of them are healthy. They know for a fact that both of them have been very recently blood tested and have not been with anybody else. And so all of these are incredibly healthy decisions, right? He is actively participating in this kink, which is solely her kink.
Yeah, and he's doing it for her benefit because she can't do it with other people because she's a congresswoman in 1990s. And like, if anybody found out about this, she'd immediately be
crucified.
Yeah.
A scarlet letter bullshit. But at the same time, he does still manage to shame her about the kink he's actively participating in, because he's like, did we have to, did
do
she
the
have
kitty
to
shit?
Kitty shit, even though he actively participated. And I appreciate that he's like GGG or whatever, but if you are, then you can't shame somebody for it. Either say your boundary up front and be like, she's an 18-year-old former cheerleader, period, the end, or I'm not participating, or you do it and you don't make people feel bad about it.
Also, of note, it is shown throughout the rest of the book that they are fully capable of a scene happening, right, with internal awareness of what is happening, and it's still the scene that it is. They could have very easily been stated before this all happened that he was like, even if just a throwaway line of, man, I really don't like this kitty shit, but like, if this is what she needs, and then it could have launched into it, and I would have been aware that something was up, right?
Something's happening.
There was no warning. And then don't worry, not only is he kink shaming her through all after this, he does in fact say to her, you women are really something, he sneered. When are you going to figure out that God might have made two sexes for a reason? You can't have it both ways. Either a man's a man or he's not. You can't take somebody whose nature is to be a warrior and then expect him at your command to curl up on the couch, spill his guts, and in general start acting like a pussy. Because she made the very valid request that he show an emotion and discuss a single experience and emotion. But that makes you a pussy.
No.
He's a man's man. He's not one of those fussy pansy men.
He's not somebody who gets penetrated. He's the penetrator.
Yeah. So so then we zippy zap. He decides not to go home after a game, and instead he's in New York and he's going to go hunt down the woman who's fucking up his life.
I was like, okay, chapter 4, this is the worst that could possibly happen, obviously.
My note is, good God, this book is fucking sexist to shit. I don't know how I can do this. It can't get worse than this.
Well, and just like from a trauma standpoint, we've watched a childhood sexual assault. We've watched a violent rape
in the moment. And now we've watched a statutory rape, but jokes, right? So I'm thinking to myself, I would DNF this, even if it was for the podcast. But
it can't get worse.
It can't. There's not more. Like, obviously now they're gonna meet each other, and then it's gonna be a regular fucking romance from here. So I'm just gonna grit my teeth and keep going. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Don't think that, listener.
Well,
okay. So now
she gets home. And she had told the doorman that a man was coming to visit her. Turns out she was expecting Victor, her gay best friend. And so she gets upstairs. And by the way, and this is valid, large, aggressive, possessive men make her deeply uncomfortable, especially sportsmen, which, like, fair.
Yeah.
You have trauma after trauma after trauma due to big, aggressive, possessive sportsman.
And I witnessed it vicariously with you.
Guess what? I'm also uncomfortable right now. So she gets up there and he's there. And I don't know if you've caught this, listener, but he is a big, aggressive, possessive sportsman. And so understandably, he makes her nervous.
In fact, in chapter 3, it literally says he was just as aggressive off the field as he was on. Like, that was a whole description in which he had been arrested multiple times for, like, beating people up and stuff. Like, all of the seeds have been planted here. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, he's here for a perfectly valid reason, because he cannot run his football organization without her signature on some really important papers, and she needs to get her shit together and do the things she has to do, or say goodbye to whatever money she might get and just say, fuck this and fuck everyone. I don't want to do this. I don't care about the will stipulations, right?
Yes.
Those are her two choices. So he shows up at her house to be like, hey, you need to come do your job. And she is like, no, I'm absolutely not going to do that. I'm not going to participate in any of the football. Mm-hmm. And then so he gets super pissed and he quits. And then her gay best friend gets there just in time to, like, get Dan back into the house. And this is when we find out that not even her gay best friend is really on her side, because he says, you must learn when to, because he's like, oh, she basically fired me. I gave her two choices, one of which was I quit, and she chose I quit. And then he goes, you must learn when to pay attention to Phoebe and when to ignore her. She is what you Americans call, he hesitated, searching for the proper phrase, a fuck up. And, like, this might be the best friend cosplaying to, like, ultimately help her get this guy on her side. But she doesn't know that in the moment. We're in her point of view. And she's like, what the fuck, Victor? How can you talk about me like that?
I would like to just make a comment, because that specifically hit me really hard, because I was a hot mess for a really long time. And through therapy and a lot of self-work, I stopped being as much of a hot mess, right? Like, we all have slips, but, like, in general, I'm doing pretty good. And I lost friends because they no longer looked good in comparison to me, right?
Right.
Like, I would, like, oh man, I may be I may be a mess, but, like, I'm not Sabrina, right?
Right.
And so all I could think is those people would have said that to another, but you know what I mean? And so, like, when I read that quote, it made me feel ill.
That's not a friend.
Yeah. I was like, fuck Victor.
And he's the one, and up until this point, I was thinking he's the one man who is on her side.
And I think that's why it hit me so viscerally, is, like, it reminded me of, like, years of thinking somebody's your friend and then realizing, oh, that's why they're here.
Yeah. That's what that felt like in the moment, in action.
Yeah.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, Magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait, order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
A Mochi moment from Sadie, who writes, I'm not crying, you're crying. This is what I said during my first appointment with my physician at Mochi, because I didn't have to convince him I needed a GLP-1. He understood, and I felt supported, not judged. I came for the weight loss and stayed for the empathy. Thanks, Sadie. I'm Myra Ahmed, founder of Mochi Health. To find your Mochi moment, visit joinmochi.com.
Sadie is a Mochi member compensated for her story.
It's awesome. You're going to love it.
I am
I'm
going
to give it to you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
If you're shopping while working, eating, or even listening to this podcast, then you know and love the thrill of the hunt. But are you getting the thrill of the best deals? Rakuten shoppers do. They get the brands they love with the most savings and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores and even stack sales on top of cash back. It's easy to use, and you get your cash back through PayPal or check. The idea is simple. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back. Download the free Rakuten app and never miss a deal. Or go to Rakuten.com to start getting the most bang for your buck. That's RAKUTEN.
Thanks, Ashley, for being here. You are.
Okay, so one of the funny things we found about whatever the last SEP book we read, Aaron and I, was that the hero kept on like getting up from chairs like a snake. And I don't remember exactly what was said in the first book, but I highlighted this because it feels like a Susan Elizabeth Phillips gold standard. It says, he uncoiled so abruptly from the chair that he startled her into backing away. So even this guy gets up like a big snake. Anyway, sorry, everybody. So basically, she decides that she's going to go in, right? She's like, okay, I'll do what I need to do to make this happen. And allegedly by the end of this dinner, she like thinks he has an offbeat sense of humor, but I guess like she didn't prove it to me. That's for damn sure. Susan Elizabeth Phillips didn't write any dialogue that made me see he had an offbeat sense of humor, but that's fine.
Yeah.
So now when she goes in, I think Reed, her cousin, comes up to her and he's trying to get on her good side. And one of the things he says to her is that even though he didn't believe her in the moment, because when she had to reveal this to her dad, he called Craig, the perpetrator, in, and Reed came with him. And so this poor woman had to then describe her rape again in front of the perpetrator, her incredibly judgmental cousin, and
also
her
the cousin
disbelieving dad.
Freaking
oh god,
assaulted
it was the same
her as
cousin
children
who did the child essay on her. And so he's like, I didn't believe you in the moment, but then later on Craig got drunk and he told me what really happened. He told me he'd raped you. And she's like, thank you, I guess, for acknowledging that. And he's like, I want to make this as easy for you as possible, and so I'm always here. And she keeps on saying that when she looks at him, is it that he has a hungry mouth? What is
greedy mouth?
How does she describe his a greedy mouth?
Yeah.
I don't like it.
It's described multiple times that way, and it gave me this squick every time. We are only in fucking chapter 7. Like, I know we're gonna zippy zap, but so much happens in these first couple of chapters, and it was You ever have that moment where you are unexpectedly confronted with things that hit really hard, but then the way that it's handled makes it feel better? It's almost healing, right? This book is the opposite, right? This book re-traumatized me in some ways, right? Like it's already brought up a couple of shitty things, but then in this chapter specifically, we learn about her history and how when she first disappeared to Paris, she spent several years letting men, fuck her and use her body because she had somehow, and we're not shocked by this, she had convinced herself that it was her fault that she got raped, and now everybody knows what kind of woman she is because of it. And so she would just let these men grunt and huff and fuck her and use her and do all of these things, and not in any kind of empowering way. It was her desperately trying to take back that power. And she's doing this because, as far as she's concerned, this is the only thing that she's worthy of. Like, this is her purpose.
This is what she deserves.
Because she's just that kind of girl. And I can identify with that in a lot of ways, right? Like, I have my own sexual traumas from my past and things like that. And I did a very similar thing in a very, you know what I mean? Where it's like, you have these experiences because you are desperately trying to take that control back when it was brutally ripped from you, right?
Yeah.
And it does, and when I say brutally, if you are listening and you are a survivor of any kind of rape or sexual assault, it doesn't have to be some big, gigantic, you got assaulted and were screaming in a fucking shed.
No.
In the dark, right? It can be small as far as...
A lot of times it's fucking subtle.
Yes. And you still have, like, this description, her entire experience, I've read other books where I had to, like, put it on pause because it hit too hard, right? But then the rest of the book was very healing to read, right? Like, their experiences, like, there was a Catherine Moon book that was similar. It wasn't because of sexual assault, but where, like, it was a whole thing. I don't remember. It was one of the monster brothel series, and I remember I had to hit pause because, like, it just hit a little too close to home at a point where I wasn't able to listen. But then the rest of the book was so fucking healing to read. Yeah, this book is the opposite. I read her experience, and, like, I noticed reading this book that I was having thoughts, like bad thoughts that I've gone to years of therapy to work through, right? And I was like, oh, this is a bad book. Like, or like, this is, depending on the person reading this,
harmful.
This is there, and it's so subtle too, because it's not like it is not that she doesn't feel this way and then it is somehow disproven by the end of the book. She feels this way, and it never feels by the end of it like she is more than a sex bomb that is only good for sex, right? Except for, like, a 5-second look in the mirror, or like him looking in the mirror and being like, maybe, oh my God, maybe she is worth more than just some place to put my dick.
Yeah. And what's even more insidious about all of this, I think, or, like, additionally insidious about it, is that she clearly has this trauma. She outright tells us that that's the only thing she thinks she's good for. And then she is attracted to a man who, in reality, thinks that's all she's good for. She's not smart. She's a bimbo. She's got a great body, and that's what he's attracted to. And he hates himself for being attracted to her. He hates himself for it. He wonders why he can't be attracted to a good woman, one of those flower-dusted ones. He tries throughout the book to distance himself from her because she's worthless. She's just a good time gal in his mind. And he tries to date somebody that he looks at as like mother material and wife material.
It's insidious. The issues with this book, they're insidious, right?
So simultaneously, she's trying to prove because at this point, she's like, all right, fuck my dad. I'm going to prove him wrong. You know, I'm going to put all my energy into doing this well, fucking proving him wrong. And then later on, she's like, I actually realized that I have to prove it to myself that he's wrong. And yet the whole time she's gravitating towards and being judged and gaslit and like whiplashed by this guy who is reinforcing the idea that that's all she's good for to her face. To her face. He says it out loud to her.
Yep.
More than once.
All the way through to the end. Up until like
wild.
He's saying that out loud, even as we're supposed to be third act rooting for them.
Yeah. So, okay, she goes to the stadium and he says some bullshit to her that makes her leave the room. She's going to stomp out. And then this really nice guy, Ron, who has been on her side since she met him in the elevator or whatever, has come out and been like, hey, I know that they're like really, it's tough with them, you know, and if you're not the exact same kind of people they are,
it's a boys' club.
Like shit. Yeah, it's a boys' club and Dan is the president. And so by the end of it, he convinces her to sign the contracts they need her to sign. And then one of the stipulations for Dan coming back, because he quit, was we're going to fire the acting general manager. That happens. And then she finds out that Ron, the nice guy who is interested in connecting with her and speaking her language and explaining the toxic masculine culture that she has to swim through, he's the one who just got fired. And so they spend the next few chapters like playing these games and, you know, her not doing anything until Ron tells her it should happen. And she's not looking at new GM resumes and stuff. And then Dan finally gets impressed by Ron because Ron, like, quote unquote, grows a pair and sort of convinces Dan that he's sleeping with her. And as a result, he's the only one who can talk her into doing anything sensible for the team. And so Dan gives him his job back, even though Dan is not the person who makes those decisions or that Ron reports to.
I'm not gonna lie,
Dan reports to Ron.
I was very confused about who was in charge.
What the fuck is happening right now?
And firing, yeah. And then a bunch of other things happen. And most importantly, we meet Dan's perfect flour-dusted cookie baking, baby making woman. And her name is Sharon. And she is nice. She's sweet.
She's a preschool teacher.
She's adorable and one of the only characters in this book that
is just lovely.
Not a single problem with. Yeah. Like
just lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. I want Sharon's book. I want Sharon and Ron's book because, spoiler, they end up together at the end of the book. That would be such a beautiful relationship.
I would love for somebody else to write it, though.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know that it would be.
I don't think that it would be done justice.
Yeah. So, okay. So now, like, they win or lose a game. Who knows?
No,
and then
so
they have a party at her house.
Importantly, it's all losses. Like, the team is just losing, losing consistently. But yeah, it's now post-game party time, even though they lost.
Yeah. And they're at her house. They start, like, sort of flirting. And he's like,
well, so she
takes on like a persona. Wait, but first, she takes on a persona when she's around people who are uncomfortable. And that is, everybody only believes me to be a Jessica Rabbit. And so I am going to be the personification of a Jessica Rabbit just to like, you know, keep them basically away from me, you know, like to not have them think any deep thoughts about me or wonder about me. And so he has seen her like flirt with every dude around, old, young, doesn't matter.
The
And
janitor, specifically, he states at one point, which I had a problem with because how
why would anybody, Sabrina?
What's the problem with flirting with a janitor, Dan?
He's poor is the problem, Sabrina. He's fucking poor, Dan thinks. Why
He's
in
a
the
working
world?
class man. But guess what, Dan? You're the working class quarterback. Anyway.
I can't.
Yeah, and so she is uncomfortable, surrounded by all of these big, roughhousing, getting drunk football men. And so she disappears to take a breather, and she finds Dan in an office or something like that, going over tapes.
No, it's in a hedge.
That's fucking weird as shit. I hard whimsied that.
Wait, aren't they at the party?
Yeah. He's like looking over tape and stuff because he has the important part is he's looking over tape and things like that. And he's less intimidating because he's got his little readers on, his reader glasses.
Shit. Maybe they're not in a hedge.
And all of a sudden,
I made that up.
No, Mel, honestly, it makes the book better if canonically he's hiding in a hedge with his glasses watching tape.
Yes.
Okay. That makes me.
Yeah, I like that.
It's canon. He was hiding in a hedge. Mm-hmm. And then they have this little conversation where he acknowledges that he makes her nervous.
Mm-hmm.
And
she tries to deny it.
Mm-hmm. And he is like, "You're a liar, darling. I make you nervous as hell." And then she puts on her little facade and says, "Only in your dreams, lover. I devour men like you for breakfast and still eat a 5-course lunch." And he says, "Damn, Phoebe, I wish we liked each other better, because if we did, we could have ourselves a real good time." Because I don't know if you remember, listener, but he does consider her nothing but a good time girl, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And she is struggling because she can't figure out why she's so drawn to this man, which is basically the antithesis of...
He's all of her fears in one body, right? Yeah. So she doesn't understand her attraction to him, but it's there. And like, she's thinking about him kissing her and stuff. But then thankfully, Ron is like, "Oh, there you are. I'm going to head home. Thank goodness." Like, blah, blah, blah. And he interrupts them. So then, yeah.
Okay. So this episode could very much be us just bitching and complaining the whole time. I do have to share something I did think was fucking hilarious in this book.
Please.
So she has a 15-year-old sister, Molly, who big issues, right? Like their dad basically like pitted them against each other and told Molly all the time about how
his other daughter was also worthless, but at least she stood up to him.
And like all sorts of stuff. So they're struggling, right? And Molly's 15. Like... I get, you know what I mean? Like she just lost her dad, even though he was shitty. She's now stuck with a sister who has been very absent her whole life. Like I understand why Molly is struggling, right? So Dan meets Molly at the end of this party and they're talking and because he's looking for a phone. And they're talking, and she looks at him, and she's like, "Yeah, well, Phoebe beats me. She won't let me go back to my old school. She beats me. She's abused. She's horrible." And he's just like, "Really? Interesting." Wow. And he's like, "She doesn't really seem like the type." And Molly's like, "Of course she is. Of course she is." And then the reason that it made me laugh is the rest of the fucking book is like every time we see a Dan and Molly interaction, he's like... "Well, I mean, like, I can talk to her about the fact that she whoops you real hard." And Molly's like, no, it's fine. She doesn't hit me anymore. She doesn't even hurt. And like, the only reason that it's funny is because Molly's a 15-year-old, right? Like this totally tracks. She's struggling. She hates her sister. She just wants to like get away from her, and she's just like, "What's the worst thing that Phoebe can do?" And it's beat me. But then but wait, there's consequences to me saying things like that.
Well, and specifically, I actually thought it was pretty illustrative because in the space that Molly has grown up in, she has probably like it's not been overt, but she has learned that the only way to get a man to like you is to put down another woman.
Yeah, that's another thing.
And that's exactly what she does with Dan. She's like, it literally says Molly wanted him to like her.
Mm-hmm.
And so she threw Phoebe under the bus, basically.
The secret is out. With millions of younger-looking customers across the country, Plexiderm is one of the most highly sought-after products on the market. It visibly shrinks under eye bags and smooths out crow's feet in minutes, and the effects last up to 10 hours. Influencers love it, magazines feature it, and people just can't get enough of it. As a matter of fact, Elle magazine gave it an Editor's Choice Award as Best Instant Wrinkle Filler for 2025. In as little as 10 minutes, Plexiderm reduces the appearance of fine lines, wrinkles, and those dreaded under-eye bags. So yes, you can look years younger in minutes, and the effects last for hours. No surgery, no gimmicks, just results. The best news, you can try Plexiderm for only $14.95. Plus, get free shipping. Don't wait. Order Plexiderm today. Visit plexiderm.com/special. That's plexiderm.com/special. Paid for by Sheer Science.
Take the exit. Turn right into the drive-thru.
Nope, I'm making dinner tonight.
You don't have time. Josh has practice.
Oh, that's right. I'll just get a salad.
And fries?
No, just the salad.
But salad cancels fries.
Salad only.
Fries.
Salad.
Fries.
Food noise isn't fair, but Mochi Health is. The affordable GLP-1 source that puts you on the road to successful weight loss.
Hey, can I get the...
Fries.
Salad. Sorry.
Learn more at joinmochi.com. Mochi members have access to licensed physicians and nutritionists. Results may vary.
It's awesome. You're going to love it.
I am
I'm
going
to give it to you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
If you're shopping while working, eating, or even listening to this podcast, then you know and love the thrill of the hunt. But are you getting the thrill of the best deals? Rakuten shoppers do. They get the brands they love with the most savings and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores and even stack sales on top of cash back. It's easy to use, and you get your cash back through PayPal or check. The idea is simple. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back. Download the free Rakuten app and never miss a deal. Or go to Rakuten.com to start getting the most bang for your buck. That's RAKUTEN.
Thanks, Ashley, for being here. You are.
So anyway,
I was just delighted by a 15-year-old being a 15-year-old, right?
Yeah. Petty AF.
Yeah. And
wow,
just blatantly
Molly.
lying. And then
not thinking into the future at all. Not thinking 2 minutes ahead.
Yeah, because it's not funny. Like, the idea of her sister beating her is not the entertaining part. Like, the part that like touched me was Molly just being like, I'm just gonna throw some shit out there.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that works. And it's just such a teenager thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So when Ron left, he told Dan that like there was videotape from the game that could be coming to the party, but it would be later. And then Dan was like, just have him put it on my desk in the morning. It'll be fine. So then when she leaves, Phoebe has gotten hold of this tape. And she was like kind of excited about the fact that they were flirting a little bit. And like she didn't really understand like what it is. And she wants to figure it out. So she decides to go to his house and bring him the tape at like 1 a.m. So she gets in her car, she puts her tape, she's looking at it and she's like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever done. But like, here I go. She gets to his house, gets out of her car and like starts walking around the property, is going to go to the front door, but like the house is all dark. She doesn't really know what to do. And then she's thinking to herself, oh my gosh, this is so dumb. I'm just going to get in my car and go away.
Mm-hmm.
And then a hand clamps over her mouth. And before she could react, a powerful arm grabbed her around the waist from behind. All the blood drained from her head and her legs buckled as she found herself pinioned. A menacing voice whispered in her ear, I'm taking you into the woods. She was paralyzed with fear. She tried to scream, but she couldn't make a sound. It was just like the night when she was 18. Her feet left the ground, and he carried her down the steps as if she weighed nothing. Blackness and panic suffocated her. He dragged her toward the trees with his mouth pressed against her ear. "Fight me," he whispered. "Fight me even though you know it won't do you any good." And then we watched this scene go on for pages, including him saying, "That's good. You're putting up a good fight, sweetheart. You're making me work for it." She's literally screaming in his arms. He puts his hand up her shirt. He says more terrible things.
No, before he even puts his hand up her shirt, he shoves his hand down her panties.
Oh, shit.
And like this entire scene is him saying all sorts of stuff and her fucking freaking out, and like awful sounds are coming from her. She's like groaning and crying and losing it. And then he releases her mouth and grabs the bodice of her dress and rips it open.
Yeah.
And then, quote, "Two things happened simultaneously. A violent scream erupted from her lips, and the hand cupping her breast froze." Because from his point of view,
Val?
He thought it was his ex-wife. They had set up this basically exact scene, right? Like this was a thing that was going.
They had set up a rape fantasy.
Which is fine.
Fine!
And then she showed up. Phoebe showed up.
It was dark.
And they look similar. They're roughly the same height. They're both blonde. And like,
I was sitting at my desk sobbing, because then after this, there's just emotional whiplash because he feels terrible. She is literally in the fetal position on the ground, sobbing her brains out. He's trying to make her feel better, but also knows that he can't do that because he, in this moment, is her perpetrator. And like,
which that level of self-awareness, he's like, Val, because Val shows up, his ex-wife shows up, and he's like, you have to talk to her. There's no way that I can talk to her right now. I'm the one who just assaulted her.
Right. And then Val is a fucking monster.
Oh my God.
Val can think about is her congressional career, and not the fact that she just accidentally set a woman up to be raped. And like, she doesn't even ask her if she's okay. She doesn't give a shit. She sees this woman sobbing on the thing, and all she can think of is she going to tell anybody about this? Because my political career will be over.
And then possibly, to me, one of the worst things about that, and this is one of those examples of a whiplash book, right? Where this scene happened, and like, I frankly understood the miscommunication, right?
Yes.
Like, it tracked, okay? And then his remorse and all of these things, and then him standing up for her to Valerie, like, fucking stop worrying about your congressional shit. There's a woman who's just been traumatized.
There's a victim sitting here.
Yes. And like, I was like, oh, because this is chapter 10. And so I was like, and there's 25 chapters in this book plus epilogue. And I was like, oh, this is the turning point. This is where it gets better. Like,
yeah, it couldn't possibly get worse from here, Sabrina.
But then Valerie leaves.
He wants to do a debrief with her. And she's like, actually, no, thank you so much. I am going to leave right now.
And then he's
manipulates
like, come on,
we got to talk about this. She won't. So he manipulates her into going inside by telling her that Molly accused her of abusing her. And she's like, what? And he's like, I'm not going to tell you anymore unless you come inside with me. Come into my lair with my big giant body that did just violently assault you, even though it was a whoopsie. And that's the only way I'm going to give you this information about your sister and whether or not she might have called CPS ? Like, what?
Yeah.
So she does. And he cooks for her.
Well, and then he has a nerve to apologize to her for what happened between them, because she's still obviously uncomfortable. And he says, are we always going to have this hanging over us? Bro.
It's been 2 fucking minutes.
Yeah. And secretly in her head, she's thinking about how much it would be nice if he held her and reassured her that everything's okay. And I'm like, ma'am, well, like, I am
Again,
not judging her. I
understand.
understand. But also, like, Susan Elizabeth Phillips, now's not the time. Right? Like,
right? Like, just think of your reader, if nothing else.
Yeah. And so then he makes some more comments about how clear it is that he makes her nervous because she buttons up around him.
But first, she makes sure to spend a lot of time subtly shaming Val by being like, so that's what you two are into? Ew. And he's like, actually, I'm not. She's the only one who's into it. I'm not at all.
That whole conversation was so fucking awful.
Yeah.
And then she bucks up and she's like, well, I'm not afraid of you. And what does he do?
He says, prove it. Fucking prove it.
How does he tell her to prove it, Mel? Less than an hour after he assaulted her.
He didn't know what devil was prodding him. He only knew that teasing her made her smile, and he loved the way her eyes crinkled at the corners when that happened. And he says, give me a kiss right here, a friendly little smacker like one friend gives to another. And then she says, I don't want to kiss you. But he noticed she waited a few seconds too long to really make that believable. And then he says, liar, all this heat can't just be coming from me.
And then she says, we don't like each other. And he says, we don't have to like each other, honey. This isn't a permanent partnership. It's animal attraction. And it feels good. You feel good.
And if this scene had happened 15 pages later, after a week had gone by and maybe he had done something nice for her and said something about her that was good in a meeting maybe or something, this would be wonderful.
I was so angry at how hot this kiss was. I was so fucking angry about it. I just still felt so gross in my whole body. That's why I'm angry. I know. It's like this is it's a long description. It's a great kiss. And all I could think was SEP. Now is not the fucking time. Why are you doing this to me? And then at the end of it, this is where it flip-flops, because at the very end, he could feel her wildness matching his, her maniac hands digging into his arms, her hips pushing and thrusting against him, grinding. She was crazy as he was, and just as needy, and those sounds almost like fear. Almost like he went rigid as he realized that she was trying to get away from him. And then he shouts at her. He says, I'm not apologizing again, goddammit. If you didn't want me to kiss you, all you had to do was say no. And then she says, I'm sorry. She whispers it. I'm sorry. Yeah, and she does, because she's not even arguing with him, and she lifts her hands in a small, helpless gesture that made him feel like the world's biggest bully. Guess what, Dan? You are a bully. This was wild. That's where we're going to stop for today. We'll be back tomorrow. For the second half of this absolute shit show, this dumpster fire. You know what I mean? Oh, are you excited? Heaving Bosoms is produced by us, Melody Carlisle and Sabrina Bradley. Editing is done by me, Melody Carlisle. Our theme music is by the incredible singer-songwriter Brittany Fonts, and our art is by the ultra-talented author Kate Pryor. She has a release that just came out. It's called Mated to My Ex, and it is a second chance divorced werewolf romance that I'm so excited about. If you like our show, remember to follow us on your favorite podcast app, rate us 5 stars, and leave a review. And of course, tell all your friends about us.
even if they don't read romance, like we're hilarious. If you want to get in touch about advertising or anything else, you can email us at heavingbosoms.podcast@gmail.com. And if you want more of us, visit patreon.com/heavingbosomspodcast. You can also find us on Instagram at Heaving Bosoms, on TikTok at Heaving_Bosoms, and in our Facebook group, the Heaving Bosoms Geriatric Friendship Cult. All right, see you tomorrow.